Okay, so here's my video. It's still public. Concrete deflection and deck modeled with rebar antenna, roach ears, right? Roach antenna, I call them. Not to be confused with these guys coming up. These are the guys that go across. Okay, and in this video that you're going to focus here and here. I have another one. I do it in slow motion. Perhaps it's this one. Let's see if I can find it in this one, and we'll go. I'll show you what this means in short moment.
Let's see what happens.
So I'm just going to load that in the middle there, create the butterfly effect, and watch the column. The columns are two ends. Okay, that was loaded. So it's twerking. More loading in the middle there, so you get a rotation down. The rebar is already past the on that left side. It's a little bit further on the right side. Okay, so this will be the right side. That rebar there compared to this rebar here. This rebar is not present anymore. It's already out of sight. This rebar is still up. So is that one. Okay, and here it is to the right now if you pause it. Okay. But right there also you see what I'm right here. You can see how it unzips from the top. You'll see the position of the rebar. This rebar is shorter than the rebar they had, or my span went way down. Well, no, their rebar was pretty long. That was one hell of a disengagement from the concrete on the other side. Let's go.
Okay.
That it was connected to, I mean. Not here, but in real life, the project. It's slow motion. So you can see the stresses, perhaps. Now you saw how the rebar went down. Sorry guys, I got to put that back and spin that around. You won't be able to look at the video. Well, you can look, but it'll be on an angle. If you see how that went down, how it slowly creeped across there. Well, this engaged to the other side, and you've got that ear, the shear heads coming up. It will cut across these heads and pull them over. It did do that in a couple of locations. Otherwise, it can slip away like that, and the heads look almost where they belong. But it looks like in every instance, it moved. The heads were engaged in the concrete, what I just showed you, or the rebar whacked them over. I'll have supporting data in just a minute. Let me go to the other side.
So, as you can see, I didn't do that but mistakenly. If the deck went down sideways, let me go out, let me zoom out for a second. If it went down sideways, you see the way our ears are? Let's see, I get our ears on this side. I don't want this to fall on me either.
The antennas, not the ears.
But you see the ears, how they're staggered in height? And that's going that direction, right? Now, that means we have still the pulling on this side equally to get that to rotate over. If you can see, once I pull this over, one ear will be onto the outside. That means the rotation was here.
The ear will be on the outside, watch.
And this ear is on the outside. So the rotation would throw one ear on the outside and one ear on the inside. The problem is we don't have that. We have both ears directly in line.
Couple places.
Roach ears, right?
Couple places you look.
There's a spalling. There's our ears.
That tells you
Let's go ahead.
That's a
push this
straight
out.
down, flat, more flat release.
Now you see where they.
Slow motion. The other one swung over because it's loose now, so that one to the left probably doesn't make sense it would do that in real life because I have a shorter connection there to rotate it.
Now you see where they align? Both of them would rotate and off in that direction.
Yeah.
This gives you a better view this way.
That one there.
That's if the failure happened in that rotation.
All right, so let's say if it happens in that rotation. Now let me show you. This one. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here. I took this image a long time ago. It's in my storage. Yeah. So there's the rebar here. See it? Okay. And you see it's on this, the column, it was up here. Now it's over here. So that indicates that our dip rotation was down this side, right? This side towards the building, towards the south wall. Wait for it. You know the way I do it sometimes. I play a little cagey. Hopefully you'll see it before I bring it up to you. This appears to have no shear heads. It looks like it's broken off on that one. All right, I'm dancing around it. Let me stop dancing. There is the steel that went the other direction across his head, I believe, going that direction. And not that long, or it's the reinforcement from here that was still in the concrete that broke this snapped off, and then we look at its tail. It's tail it has to tell, and there's the tail. It tells right there inside that rebar scratch and the scratch on the face. So it didn't jump away; it slid down. And that's the depth. That's the scratch. If NIST was gathering data properly, they would have photographed that. They would even check the depth of it and documented it real quickly. It looks like it scratched off the paint, or it went down through the concrete and scratched off the huge depth there. It would tell a tale. It would show more. Look, the serious break there, the hard impact here, and maybe down here it's lighter. Maybe it's deeper there. It tells a tale of the deck going in and out, rocking as it's going down, trading in a tug-of-war fashion, this side to this side, as it pulls down both. Remember, unlike ACI, I do not believe the deck can act independently. The rebar is connected. It was going to react together. The tug-of-war will happen, especially based on those cars, when it comes to rest, and when it might be a temporary rest, and then the other part of the deck releases from a shear head or two, and then boom, and then it has a new momentum to it, and maybe some tug and war action going on. Okay, so let me get rid of that. Oops. So this is what I want to show you with 42. 42 is, is over here by the butterfly. That's 42. These guys have their own little telltale, meaning a tail to tell. I like having a play on words. This is the rabbit ears or nose, right? Both of them together, symmetrical, and rotated down. So the concrete it was engaged in pulled them went down equally. They look like, I can't tell. This is biased now because it's on an angle, and I could be adding data because, frankly, the angle of the camera does create a larger angle, but usually creates it away from me at this point with this camera. I've been able to determine that it gives an effect of away. Like these look like they don't look parallel. They don't look plumb, right? This one looks leaning away. This one looks leaning that way, and it's an untrue. It's an untruth. It looks like a truth, but it's not. These columns are plumb, and they represent no fractures at the base. No fractures were seen at multiple other angles. I determined that it was straight. That they are all straight. That they're not at a plumb. All right. So And it appears that NIST had put no level out there at any time, so I think that's supported. With a save of 1, I think I found a fracture in 1, and that was from the report from Morbido. And that fracture is very interesting. If I could know where that column was, it could be anywhere in the whole darn structure down there, though, including out to the front driveway. That fracture has its own amazing little story to tell of a lateral stress. And I don't know which one it is. I mean, we could, pick on this one. We say, oh, it's the one over here by the planter box. I don't have that. But that's indicating that lateral crack like that, no impact counted, it indicates a serious stress coming from the deck, sagging. The repair looks like this for you guys that might want to track it down. He says like a through repair. It looks like an injection. It looks like this is the column. And this is what it looks like they're going to do. And I think the notes say something similar to the effect of full depth repair or something like that. Full width repair. I'm like, oh, that's a full fracture. I did not see spalling here or here in the image that they presented, the drawing they presented. They didn't talk about the repair spalling or anything like that. But this indicates that this thing was being pulled left, right, north, south, west, east. I don't know which direction. It wasn't indicated where this thing was going to be done. This video will end now because this is all I want to get you a piece of the puzzle to help you understand the significance of the rebar, the reinforcement. Now, I sent this off to NIST before, and they let it ride, right? That was one, I don't think, or they were delayed. And they said we're going to shut him down then, or they shut me down right after I did the video on NIST destruction of evidence. I think it was destruction of evidence video. I don't think it was like, it's a possibility. That's why I leave open. Oh, they saw that and like, you know what? We don't like this guy's narrative. We're going to shut him down. All right, so there's a rebar. There's the witness marks. There's a lot of machine shop people like to call it witness marks. And there we go. All right, so this is another stack data for you. Oh, this is what it looks like spalling off. As it spalls it away, it fractures it. These are about equal in fracture. You have to map this down on a piece of paper over there, and it will tell the story. And you start seeing, okay, these were equally loaded. At least they broke the same. This one snapped fully. Very interesting. It looks like it snapped fully. I could be wrong. It could be there. That means it would have stayed engaged in the deck. And the deck did the deflection. On this side, we have the rebar that's just pulled out. I believe that rebar... right. I believe that rebar might be coming from this direction. It's a possibility it comes from that direction. Very slim because you see the angle, the rotation angle. To me, seems like it was here. And as it pulled down, it became deflected, rotated towards us like I just showed you with my foot, and then slid on this side. And the profile stayed the same because rebar, once it's bent, it's not spring metal. It's not going to go back. It stays pretty much where you bend it. Now, it will have some rebound. So if you want a 135 degree angle on your rebar, you might go to 140 and then it goes back to 135. So it might be very slight. So that rebar down there now, it might have been pinned by the concrete to keep it in this profile, to not allow it not to go back. It might be pinned there, so there's nothing to spring back to. As you release the concrete, if this springs back, you take note of it. Right now, it appears to be parallel. The top of it appears to be parallel with the deck. So at one point, that tells you that when it became parallel, it rotated off. So it was something like, if you just lift it back up, it was something like that when this rotated fully away, moving the same profile. If I knew where the depth was in the concrete, moving that profile up to there, it tells me when it was no longer in the air here, that it did the tug-of-war thing and it pulled away and dropped. Also, what would tell it is the witness marks of this bar down here on this side of this corner. How far did it scrape? As you see the paint removed, before all of a sudden you might see a holiday, and then all of a sudden it comes to rest here. That would tell you that it pulled away, tug-of-war again, from the other side of the wall, and then the other wall released, and then this was able to tug back and put itself at rest here. Top of cars, whatever it may be, to stop its momentum. And if it's fully slid down, then that tells that story, that it never came away from there as it slid down. And again, you look for the depth of it, the paint removal. And I did that video and I sent it off in this saying what the scratch marks and the removal of the numbers, the grinding of the numbers would mean. It would tell the story of this deck failure. And that's another hint to you guys about it. It's got a story. There's a lot of removal of some of this stuff, like the numbers right there, pretty much torn off, ripped off of this one, that column there. We do have block work to deal with and things like that. All right, I'm going to end this one short. So, love you guys. Hopefully, if you can review this video again, you'll learn what these witness marks mean and how to use them. Take care. Love you. Bye.